situation, but some kind of argument. So, and I told her that I'm very fine that you can reach out to the HR and address this issue, or you can also speak to the Javier, and then she spoke to the Javier. So the bottom
Mm-hmm.
line is that Javier listened to me, and I explained all the things what's been going on in a good way, in a professional way,
Mm-hmm.
not a like emotional way, right? So he
Mm-hmm.
went back to Lorena and spoke to her, right? So, and then he comes back yesterday and tells me that, you know, um, I will be reporting to her. So I expressed my concern, and I expressed about the things that what I'm not comfortable of doing it, and I just didn't understand that he came back to me after listening to all the stuff
Mm-hmm.
and telling me that she's a leader who will be leading this Oracle implementation, and he said basically he kind of used a couple of words. He's like basically we need to suck it up, right? Some like that. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my thing is, what does it benefit me if I'm having this difficult time right now? Now, he's putting me to report to her because she wants to rely on her um, rather than me and Joe. So he's keep giving like some kind of direction to her, and I have no problem following instructions from anyone. But the thing is, the way she talks, her aggressiveness, and if you sit in a few meetings, there are a lot of things that she could do better. And
Mm-hmm.
trust me. I mean, I'm not bad mouthing on somebody, but if you ever had the chance to talk with anyone in our department, um, unless they're really scared to speak up, a lot of people have concerns or some issues talking to her because she's very expressive and she doesn't listen. So I'll give you an example. Like, for example, I told Javier that one of the issues that I had was when I was requesting a part creation, um, I am supposed to, uh, you know, write an email to, like, let's say to Joe, right? And I couldn't simply write, hey Joe, hey, here are the list of the items that I need you to create the pattern part number for blah blah blah. I can send it in, right? But then Lorena tells me that, hey, David, open up this email. This is one of the email I sent to Joe. Copy the context, just change the part number and send it. But that is not my style, right? Like she
Mm-hmm.
writes very aggressive. She's like, acknowledge receipt upon blah blah blah. I'm like, she's very aggressive, right? But I'm just putting in a part request, right? I'm not I'm not there to, and there's nothing wrong with me asking nicely to Joe and say, hey Joe, I need you to create a part list, and he will do it. But it doesn't have to be acknowledge the receipt of this email. This is the blah blah blah. Well, I'm not a baby, right? So she did it a few times, but I kind of let it slide, right? But then she's like, hey David, make sure you write that in the group chat so that everyone's known. But for me, the way I communicate is if I have an issue with somebody named C, I will directly reach out to the C and say, hey C, hey, I need this to be done. Could you help me? And he has no problem responding. But
Mm-hmm.
Lorena want me to do it in certain things. For example, I created like an AI video explaining about the catalog file I built. Okay, it's like it was like sensational. Everybody was like, "Wow, it's awesome, David." But in that video, I put a comment such as I appreciated somebody and blah blah. I appreciated uh, regional managers and supply chain team for collaboration work and such and such. She comes back to me and say, David, you should have let me know before you exported that video. I was like, why? And she was like, give me her feedback. But I'm like, Lorena, this is my video. Nobody asked me to build something like that. Everybody's really shocked at the quality of the video and the information and everything. They're like very, very impressed. But why do I have to get your permission? I'm making my creative work, right? So we went back and forth, but I dealt with Lorena, so it wasn't a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
but these kind of stuff keep happening, right? So another day on last Thursday morning, I think she's always about Joe. I don't know why. So apparently, me, Joe, and Lorena had to sit in the meeting and decide the role of the planner. So she contacts me and say, hey David, before you go to join the meeting, can you review this information and be ready so that you speak up? I'm like, okay, but what you're talking about? And she's like, oh, you're right. I didn't send you updated notes, so it's on your way now. So it was like 10 minutes before she's telling me what to do, right? And I'm like, is this necessary? And then after the meeting, she goes like, hey, David, did you follow up with Renew team? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I wasn't even copied in that email. But I'm like, don't do those kind of things. Don't send me like those messages every day before you even check that I was included in there. And so bottom line, she doesn't have a bad intention. It's just I don't know. It's just how she does it. And I
Mm-hmm.
explained this to Javier that she doesn't have to be very aggressive and she could be passionate, but she doesn't have to be very emotional and doing that. And I told Javier that in my offer letter, and you told me in my first day, I should build a good relationship with Joe because apparently Lorena has an issue building a relationship with Joe. So, and I said, and I have no problem working with Joe. But she's not my boss, but she's telling me what to do, what to write, how to do things. And if, frankly, um, you know, this job that I took, I wanted to have an opening eye on the renewable energy sector. So, I took a much advanced or senior level jobs before. So this was kind of like me learning about the renewable sector, right? But there are things that I could handle much better than how she does, in terms of like talking to the people, writing email, whatsoever. So a lot of times I sit in the meeting, I watch how she jot down the email and stuff like this. So I kind of explained that to Javier. Javier comes back to me and said, David, I know that you are a very good worker and I need you, but Lorena is leader. She's got a lead. I don't have time to do this and that, so I need you to report to her. I'm like, well, I just told you that I have an issue. And now you make me to report to her, which means you're not even considering. I rather report to Joe. It's like I look at my contract. I'm like, okay, it's a 12 months contract. So, and I'm very very confident that everywhere I can apply and I get a job. So this isn't my like an end of the world thing. But as far as I'm concerned, until the last day of my contract, I'll be doing my best to work and build a good relationship, right? So I'm like, after I tell you those my concern, you tell me that I have to report to Lorena, and I'm looking at my contract, right? So how many months is left, right? So I'm at the point where, okay, he tells me try first and let him know if there's any issue. Like that makes no sense, right? So I told him those things, and he's like, "Oh, David," and I told him exactly, "Hey, Javier, you're my boss. You told me this information. You told me about this decision, but you have to understand that I need time to process it. I need time to process and digest what's been decided, right?" So I told him, right, and basically I said, "Well, I'm gonna try, but." I don't know if this is really a normal thing that he can do, because a lot of people view it as like a little bit of favoritism over her. But I don't know. I can't say it because, and I'm not even in a pattern employee, right? So I need to be very little bit of careful, right, what I say. But it's been great so far. But putting me under her because she has an issue. But basically, what happened was, Lorena said, "I'm gonna call you." I said, "Don't call me. I'm very uncomfortable. You calling me with yeah, at this moment," because she's like, "Well, it wasn't necessary." Blah blah blah. Right. So I said, "I'm very uncomfortable. You calling me right now." So basically, he told Javier that David doesn't want to talk to me, so he put me under her so that I had to listen to her. So I don't know. It's not. I'm not crying about it, Charlie. I'm not, and it's not like I can't sleep at night, right? Because I'm a former Marine too, so this kind of stuff doesn't bother me. But what bothers me is that I did such a great work in the organization, and I'm not afraid of expiring my contract here because I have options to go anywhere, but I wanted to be helpful and supportive as much as possible with all my knowledge and experiences that I gained from other organizations. That's why they hired me, right? So, but then I have no problem working with Joe, and well, even Lorena, it's still okay. But then they putting me all of the sudden under her when I still have like 5 to 6 months contract left over. Suddenly, I don't think that is right. So far since last Thursday afternoon, I haven't spoke to her, but normally she will be messaging me like 20, 30 times a day, and expressing her concerns and about Joe and other people and stuff like that. But I'm like, um, I think I had enough, right? So I don't know,
Mhm.
Charlie. I if I like this is the thing. So I expressed it to the Habia that I need time to digest and stuff like that. But I'm sure if this is brought up, Javier won't be happy about it. But it is what it is. So I'm not asking you to do anything yet, but I just want you to know that because she did have an incident with Joe, and as I mentioned, oftentimes I didn't want to throw anyone under the bus, but she is being a little bit aggressive, and so I just want you guys to have like some kind of like a knowledge or information what's been going on, right? So just in case something happens and I really need to come to the HR and say, "Hey, Charlie, I need you to help me on this." I don't want to wait too long and
Mhm.
keep you blinded, right? So I'm not expecting you to do anything yet, but I just wanted to share my concern at this moment that how can somebody change my contract during the contract period time? I mean, isn't it like if they're gonna change whom I'm gonna report to, don't I have to re-sign my contract or anything like that? But I'm not gonna even make a big deal out of it, right? But I just want you to know where I stand. And like I said, I'm a Marine, so she's not gonna make me cry or anything, But I want you guys to know. So something along the way, if something happens, you can kind of reference to it and see what's really going on in the supply chain department. So that's all I
Okay.
have there.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that detail.
Mhm.
And I was going to ask, and I know that you gave a few examples, but specific to her being aggressive, and I think you used the word emotional.
Mhm.
Do you have any email examples or anything written or something I
Uh,
can reference?
yeah, I mean, I'm sure I can find some. I didn't have any intention to like collect the evidence or anything like that, but um, one recorded conference meeting will prove everything too, like the way she speaks. So people say, "Hey, Lorena, I understand that. Hear me out 1 second." Or, like, if you sit into one of the I probably have one of the videos that we recorded in the Teams or something like that. But I can, if needed, when the time comes and you need to reference it, I will definitely provide it. And also, maybe I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but maybe it's a good idea that you can like ask a few of the people. I can give some people's name because these people that I work with, they have a lot of not a fight, but a lot of messes back and forth, because Lorena's like trying to step over their toes or something like that. But yeah, I think somewhere along the way, I could provide you a few examples. I think I do. Yeah. I think I do have a lot of things like, for example, like this one. Let's say I created a PowerPoint slide to show the team that what I'm gonna work on, and I say, hey, any constructive feedback will be welcome. And she messages me and say, David, why did you ask their feedback before you come to me? But again, I don't report to you. So and she got mad. So I said, well, I have all the right to collect the constructive feedback from every one of them as well as yours. And then it is up to me whether I should take it and apply to my PowerPoint slides. This is not about, this is about how I'm going to put the beautiful PowerPoint slide and stuff like that, right? But then she's like, oh, okay, I'm not going to give you my opinion because you're not going to listen to it. I explained to her that, no, I will still value your opinion, but it is up to me to whether I choose that or not because I carefully decide which feedback I should be using, and that's all up to me. It's my work. But I think I have some. If I scroll up all the way and find it in the like 10 months ago or 6 months ago, I'll probably have an example where it is. Yeah. I could, if needed, I could perhaps provide you some examples of she being trying to be a little bossy or a little emotional and stuff like that. But I really don't want to be a rat. But if this gets to an issue and I really need to provide it, maybe I think I can do that. Yeah.
Well, and so just to make sure we're clear, I mean, you felt that it was necessary for you to contact me, which I appreciate you reaching out. We if you felt that way to call me, then I think it could be worth looking into.
Okay.
But you also said I'm not asking you to do anything right now.
Right.
So when it comes to reviewing employee relations issues, and there's a point in time where if it comes to HR, we're obligated to look into it, depending on what the issue is.
Right.
So having those examples will allow me to assess if this is something that needs to be looked into immediately.
Sure.
Because we certainly, whether you're an employee, a contractor, there's a certain level of conduct that we expect everyone to have, and if that's not happening, then it needs to be addressed.
Got you. I can probably do that. But my other question here is that, is there any issue of Javier making me to report to Lorena during my contract without me re-signing it? I just so right now, I can suck it up. Let's say I can suck it up until my, I don't need them to extend my contract if they don't think I am valued to the company. But I am willing to stay if they offer me. But what my question is that when the offer was presented to me, I was reporting to Javier, but can Javier still make me to report to Lorena, even my contract didn't expire yet? That was my like dumb question. That's actually the most the question that I had in my mind rather than other stuff.
I don't have your agreement in
Okay.
front of me.
Hmm.
I would need to go back and look at that to,
Okay.
give you a response directly.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think I'll have access to that
Okay.
in the grid.
Okay.
But if I have trouble tracking that down, have to go to procurement.
Sure, sure.
Um, but for context, I know that for regular pattern employees, there's always that language built into the employment letter
Hmm.
that says that your working arrangements could change over time. I
Mm.
just need to see if that's something that was baked into your
Okay.
consultant
I see.
agreement.
I got you. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good to know.
So when you talk to Javier, so I will follow up on that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk to Javier,
Uh-huh.
um, he mentioned that you would be potentially reporting into Lorena. What about? Did he say anything about Joe?
No, so he didn't say anything about Joe. So, which I really don't understand because Joe's been in the organization for last 7 or some years, right? And then Lorena was only hired 3 months prior to my onboarding, and
Hmm.
for some reason her contract was 6 months term. My contract was like 12 months. So her contract
Hmm.
got expired, and then she got because it was expired that she had a chance to either get an invitation from the pattern to be a pattern employee or not. But Javier didn't does not mention anything about Joe. He keep tells me that Lorena is a leader. Um, yeah, so Joey's out of the picture right now. So I was like, wow, if I were to report to somebody, which I don't have any issue, because that doesn't change my contract rate or anything. But then, as long as I can do my job with minimum interference and get support, I have no problem with it. But I told there's a problem with me working with Lorena at this moment, but which can be resolved, of course. But he put me under Lorena just to so that was like really a little bit of shocking for me. Yeah, yeah. But he didn't mention anything about Joe. No.
Okay. In terms of working with Lorena,
Mhm.
let's call it now and going forward,
Mhm.
from your perspective,
Mhm.
is there anything that you would like to see different in terms of your working relationship?
I think Javier also had a really good conversation with her, so she will probably not gonna make the same mistakes. I'm sure she will do her best to not step over myself because that's what Javier told me. You know, she
Hmm.
she probably did it with a good intention to shoot an email to Joe because sometimes things get delayed if you don't put in the strong wording and include the big bosses. But that's Lorena, right? That's not me. I sent an email, Joe responds. So he did mention that it will change, and
Okay.
if it doesn't work, I come back and let him know right away, so that he can
Hmm.
address anything. He said anything I can do to help you. He said he
Hmm.
will do, but I'm like, yeah, anything you should have done is um, tell her not to do those things, and put me in letter position as a 3 warehouse and inventory manager. you know, so I don't understand why you put me under Lorena and tells me that she's not gonna ever make any mistakes like that. If she does come and talk to me, I'll reserve it. That's what he said. Something like that.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
I'm pleased that that is in place, and I
Hmm.
hope you still feel comfortable
Right,
going
right.
directly to Javier.
Yep, yep.
Is that still true? Okay,
Yeah, of
good.
course, of course. That's why I said I don't expect you to do anything at this
Okay.
moment, but I want you to know what's been discussed because, I'm a consultant, right? So let's say if something really along the way happens and I come to you and I will probably lose the credibility or doesn't have like enough time to kind of explain my situation or my shoes, right? But right now, I just wanted to let you know, and since Habia did tell me that he will, address any concerns and he will do his best to resolve that. I trust that too. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I just want you to know that it has been um, changed. My
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So having with you having said that, then I feel comfortable in kind of being on standby. It doesn't sound like you told Javier that you'd be talking to me. I won't
Oh,
break
I
that
can.
trust.
Okay.
But if something does happen again, I probably would be a good idea
Right.
for you to mention that I felt comfortable enough going to you, Javier, and Charlie.
Sure, sure.
Because you mentioned, wanting to maintain credibility.
Right.
The last thing I'll mention is,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, is so communication styles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sorry, let me get a sip of water here.
Okay.
Um, so it does seem like Lorena has a more direct style of communication
Right.
versus yours. Would you say that that's fair or not so
Yeah,
much?
I think so. And if you sit in one of the meetings, you will kind of like understand where I'm coming
Hmm.
from. But she's
Yeah,
not doing it in the bad intention. I know that. Yeah, yeah.
and that's important because you definitely want to feel okay about the intent of the message,
Right, right,
versus the message itself.
right.
So if she is has a direct style, she knows that you have a certain style of communication,
Mhm.
but you guys have that relationship, then the more direct communication style
Mhm.
becomes less of an issue because, like you said,
Right,
that that there's no ill intent.
right.
Um, I do encourage employees to have those direct conversations with their peers,
Mhm.
um, and coworkers you know when that communication style does become an issue. Um, so I just wanted to kind of put that out there. It sounds like, again, there is a difference in the communication style, but you do
Right,
have an understanding that maybe
right.
there is an ill intent. But I do wonder if the awareness
Mhm.
is in place on Lorena's side. It
Yes,
sounds like Javier is helping her with that.
I think
Um,
he did. He just did because
okay,
yeah. So
okay,
yeah, 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 yeah.
okay. Okay. Well, again, I know we're at time, but yeah, let's stay in contact. I'll
Okay.
probably just check in with you in, I
Sure,
don't
sure.
know, maybe a week and a half's time just to kind of see how things are going.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks for spending time and listening to me.
Oh, no problem. Anytime, David.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Yeah.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.